Think young. Stay young. My name is Johnson. Many years ago, I remember the day I learned something important. It was a Sunday morning. The sun was bright, but I felt tired. I did not sleep well. I looked in the mirror. My eyes were heavy. My face looked older. I was only 30, but I felt 50. My back hurt. My head was slow. I could not think clearly. I made coffee and sat down. I turned on the radio, hoping music would help. The man on the radio spoke about the brain. He said, "You must use your brain, or it will get old." That made me stop. I listened more. He said the brain is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it becomes weak. He said, play games, learn new things, read books, talk to people. I sat still. I never did those things. I worked. I watched TV. I slept. That was my life. No books, no new things. I thought about my father. He was strong when he was young, but when he stopped working, he changed. He sat all day. He did not talk much. His brain got slower. He forgot names. He forgot how to use the TV remote. He once forgot how to make tea. I remember the fear in his eyes. He was lost in his own home. That scared me. I did not want to be like that. That day, I stood up and turned off the radio. I picked up a book. The words were hard, but I tried. I read one page, then another. My eyes hurt. My head felt heavy. But I kept going. I felt proud. I was doing something new. That night I slept better. My brain felt alive. I smiled. It was a small step, but it was a start. Each day I did something new. I played a puzzle. I learned a new word. I wrote short notes about my day. I watched videos about science. I talked to people in the park. Some days were hard. My brain was tired. But I felt better. I felt younger. My thoughts were faster. My mood was better. I laughed more. I remembered more. One day, I met an old friend. He looked tired. He said, "I feel slow." I told him my story. I said, "Use your brain. It wants to work." He laughed. He didn't believe me. But I gave him a puzzle. I said, "Try it." He smiled and said, "Maybe I will." I felt proud again. I was not only helping myself, I was helping others too. After a few weeks, I began to feel a big change. My mornings were different. I woke up with more energy. My head was not heavy anymore. I did not forget small things like I did before. I remembered names, dates, and where I put my keys. I could finish my work faster. I felt like my brain was waking up from a long sleep. It was like I found a new part of myself that I had lost. One morning I went to the market. A young boy was selling books. He smiled and said, "Try this one. It is easy." I took the book and read the first page. The story was simple, but I liked it. I bought the book and read it on a bench in the park. A man sat near me and saw the book. He asked, "Do you like reading?" I said yes, and we started talking. That book gave me a new friend. I also started writing in a small notebook. Each night I wrote 5 sentences about my day. At first it was hard. I didn't know what to say, but after some days I had more ideas. I wrote about my walk, my lunch, or a nice person I met. Writing helped my brain. I learned new words. I saw my mistakes and tried to fix them. It made me think more and feel more alive. One Sunday, I joined a puzzle group at the library. The people were older, like me. We sat at a big table and worked together. Some puzzles were hard, but we laughed and helped each other. I met a woman who was 78. She said, "Puzzles keep me young." I looked at her face. She had many lines, but her eyes were bright. I wanted to be like her one day, old but alive inside. That night, I sat in bed and thought about my life. I used to feel old and slow. I thought my best days were gone, but now I knew something new. Age is not just about your body. It's about your brain, too. If your brain is strong, you feel young, and to keep it strong, you must use it every day. That was my new rule. That was my new life. A few months later, I visited my brother. He lived in a small town near the hills. We sat on the porch and drank tea. He looked at me and said, "You look good." What changed? I smiled and told him about my new life. I talked about reading, puzzles, and writing. He listened quietly. Then he said, "I thought it was too late to change." But I said, "It's never too late. We can always start again." My brother was not like me. He was quiet and calm. He liked to work with his hands, not his mind. But that day he asked questions. He wanted to know more. I told him how I felt before, slow, tired, and lost. I said, "My brain felt old, but now I feel young again." He looked at the trees in the yard and nodded slowly. "Maybe I should try something too," he said. The next morning, we went to the library. It was small but full of books. The air smelled like old pages. My brother walked slowly between the shelves. He picked up a short book about animals. He opened it and smiled. "I can read this," he said. I was happy to see that smile. He took the book home. That night, he read one full chapter. That visit changed something in him. A week later, he called me. He said, "I finished the book. Now I want another." His voice was full of life. We talked for a long time. He asked me to send more book names. I sat at my desk and wrote a list for him. It felt good. I was helping my brother. And I was not just keeping my own brain young, I was helping someone else do the same. One day I read an article about memory. It said the brain makes new paths when we try new things. That made me think. I wanted to try something I never did before. I saw a sign for a painting class at the park center. I was not good at art, but I joined. The first class was funny. My hand shook. My lines were not straight, but I laughed. The teacher said, "It's not about being perfect. It's about trying." I sat next to an old man named Joe. He was 8 years old and full of jokes. He said painting helped his brain stay sharp. "I forget names," he said, "but I remember colors." We painted together every week. I liked watching the colors mix on the paper. I forgot time when I painted. My mind felt light. I didn't worry about mistakes. I just enjoyed the moment. Outside the class, I started noticing more. I looked at trees, sky, and people's faces. I saw beauty in small things. I felt more alive. I smiled at strangers and said hello. Some smiled back, some didn't. But I felt connected. My days felt full. I was no longer just passing time. I was using it. My brain was working, learning, growing, like a young tree in spring. Sometimes I sat alone with my notebook. I wrote simple thoughts, not deep things, just small pieces of my day. I wrote about a bird I saw or a kind word I heard. These notes were short, but they helped me remember. They helped me think. They helped me see life as a gift. And slowly, I felt my thoughts become clear and bright. My friends noticed the change. One said, "You talk more now. You smile more." I laughed and said, "Maybe I'm getting younger." Of course, I knew my body was still old, but my mind was not tired anymore. I had new energy inside, and that was more important than age. It felt like I had found a secret I wanted to share with everyone. The next month, I found a new place in town. It was a center for older people who wanted to stay active. They had classes, games, and music. I joined a group that talked about history. The teacher was kind and told simple stories. I listened closely and wrote down notes. My brain worked hard, but I liked the feeling. It was good to learn again after so many years. After class, a woman came to sit beside me. Her name was Emma, and she had bright eyes. She said, "I like how you listen." I smiled and said, "I like your questions." We laughed. She said she started learning at age 70. I told her that was brave. She shook her head and said, "No, it's wise." I agreed. Talking to her made me feel happy and full of energy. Emma invited me to join her walking group. They met each morning at the park. I went the next day. We walked slowly and talked about many things. Some people talked about books, others about their pets. I listened and smiled. It was fun. I learned something new each day. I felt better in my body and lighter in my mind. At night, I started reading short stories before sleeping. Just 1 or 2 pages helped me relax. I liked stories with surprise endings. Some made me laugh, and some made me feel warm inside. After reading, I slept deeply. My dreams were more clear and bright. I woke up early and ready for the day. Now I have a list on my wall. It says read, walk, talk, write, learn, paint, laugh. Every day, I pick 1 or 2 things from the list. They help me stay strong and sharp. My brain is not slow like before. It is busy and alive. I feel proud of who I am becoming. One morning, I stood in front of the mirror again. I looked into my eyes. They were not tired anymore. My face had more light. I was still the same man, but something inside me had changed. My thoughts were clear. My memory was sharp. I smiled and whispered, "You are doing well." I didn't feel old. I felt strong and awake. That small moment showed me how far I had come. I started to share my story with others. At the center, I gave a small talk. I told people how I felt before and what helped me feel young again. I used simple words. I said, "Use your brain. It wants to work." Some people listened with care. A few smiled. One man came after and said, "I will start today." That made me feel proud. I was helping someone just like the radio helped me once. Later, I began a small club. We met once a week to read, write, and talk. Some people were shy at first. They thought they were too old to learn. But after one meeting, they smiled more. After 2, they asked questions. And after 3, They brought friends. We were not just learning, we were growing together. It felt like building a garden, one small plant at a time. I still keep my list on the wall. Some days I do more, some days less. But I never stop. I read, I write, I walk, I talk, I laugh, I try. I am not young in body, but my brain is young. And that is the secret. Keep your brain moving, and it will keep you moving too. That is the story I will keep telling again and again. I hope this session was helpful. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more such interesting stories.